To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
So my dear children, in the earlier chapter, we discussed several things regarding the domestic wastes. Especially the ones that we discussed under the domestic waste is the chemical substances or chemical domestic waste. Okay, so over there we discuss about the first chemical domestic waste. Okay, so about the first domestic chemical waste and another type of a domestic chemical waste. First one was food additives and the second one was cleaning agents, right? Then this is the third type of domestic chemical substance which is being added to the environment, right? Especially these are chemical substances, my dear children. So the third type of domestic chemical substances, right, which are being added to the environment is medicine types, different kinds of medicines. So here it is given, in the past man had a sound knowledge of popular indigenous medicines and they used natural medicines. But at present there are different kinds of medicines at home that are used without prescription to ease simple ailments. So if you take the earlier times, now in the earlier times, my dear children, right, in the earlier time the ancient people had a good knowledge about the indigenous plants, right, and they prepared different kinds of organic substances, organic medicine types which are biodegradable, and also, my dear children, without any harm we can use these things, as these things are plant and animal based ones. Okay, these things are not synthetically made by mixing of different kinds of elements and other chemical substances. Okay, so therefore these things are somewhat favorable for the environment and for the patient who is going to consume it. But my dear children, nowadays for different kinds of illnesses we use different kinds of synthetically made medicine. So these medicine have different kinds of side effects. For a certain example, if a certain person is going to have high blood pressure or else diabetes, then he or she had to consume some drugs and some medicines for a long time period. I mean, like daily he or she has to consume it. Daily has to consume, otherwise the blood pressure level or the sugar level will not be at an optimum level, it will increase. So therefore these medicines, my dear children, as they are made up with different kinds of chemicals, when time is going to pass by, like in years, these chemicals have the ability to harm the kidneys of a certain patient. So when the time is going to pass by, right, what will happen is, because of using too much drugs and medicines for a long time period, what will happen, they will not be able to maintain their proper organ systems within the body. Organ systems will fail. Okay, however this won't happen within recent years, my dear children, like by 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, within that kind of a time period it will not happen. But however, when the time is going to pass by, like up to 25 to 30 years, definitely their kidneys will get failed. So if a certain patient is suffering from these diseases, non-contagious diseases, for long time period, and if these patients are consuming medicine for these diseases for long time, like if the time period is greater than 10 years or so, then my dear children, it is very important to check your internal organ systems, whether especially kidneys, my dear children, kidneys and livers, especially these two. And and my dear children, we have to check these organ systems whether these things are working well or not. Okay, actually healthcare officers are being instructed, right? These healthcare officers are instructed, right, to give the knowledge for those patients in order to do a full body checkup, right, so that they could check whether the organ systems are working in a proper manner or not. So it's very important to do a routine checkup, like within an year after an year. Okay, at least year after an year, if you are suffering with different kinds of diseases, right, like diabetes and high blood pressure, and if you are consuming medicine for those for long time. So this is happening mainly because of these substances are synthetically made. These things are not natural. Synthetically we may prepare these things at our laboratories. So therefore these things contain several side effects, my dear children. Okay, one side effect is that example which I have took earlier. Okay, right then. So examples are using anodines for fever, using different creams for pains and itching, and using antacids for gastroacidity. So there are some certain types of medicines which are plenty available in the market. Without a prescription of a doctor, we can take these things from the market. Examples are the ones which are given in the board, my dear children. Okay, anodines for, right, fever. We use usually paracetamol. Okay, so it is an anodine. The pain can be relieved by using paracetamol for certain diseases. Okay, especially for headache, some if there is a swell in your body, then you can use anodines to kill the pain. Okay, so usually these things are referred as painkillers. Then, my dear children, different kinds of creams which are being applied for skin diseases like fungal diseases, and for itching, and also for pains, different kinds of pains. Okay, we can use different kinds of creams which can be applied. And my dear children, different kinds of antiseptics. Okay, different kinds of antiseptics like surgical spirit, hydrogen peroxide, and my dear children, even potassium iodide, right, potassium iodide, which is also referred as iodine solution, right. In normal sense, my dear children, these things are referred as, or this is referred as the betadine. Okay, so those things can be considered as, now those things, to buy those things, or else to get these types of medicines, right, a prescription is not needed. Even we can go for the pharmacy or any other marketplace where these things are being selling, right, then we can buy these things without any trouble. So therefore within our market there are different kinds of things, medicines, my dear children, medicines, there are different kinds of medicines. So we can buy these medicines without any prescription. Okay, and there is another one, antacids for gastroacidity. So usually for the gastroacidity, I mean, when increasing the acidic level in the stomach, you know that gastritis is getting created. So to get relief from gastritis, we use special kind of a medicine which is referred as antacids, like aluminum hydroxide and magnesium hydroxide, which is also referred to as milk of magnesia. So you can buy these things without any trouble by the market, okay, or by a pharmacy. Then moreover, when there are cuts and bruises, antiseptics like spirit is used. Antiseptics is a chemical which is applied on living tissues which destroy microorganisms or prevent their growth. When they are used, the correct dosages should be taken on the correct time. It is very dangerous to use medicine without the advice of the doctors for a long period of time. So my dear children, these chemical substances which I took as the examples, these things should be consumed according to a certain dosage. If not, I mean, like if you are using these things without any dosage, then sometimes there is a possibility that these chemicals might overdose. So in that case, certain complications and health issues may arise. Okay, and the other thing is that, my dear children, when you are using these chemically based substances, or in simple chemical medicines, we should have to consume these things, or we should have to use these things for a certain time period. Now let's take an example. You are failing with a certain disease. Let's take that you are going to fail with fever and cold. Now you are going for a doctor. Now doctor is giving a certain prescription, and then you have to buy these medicines from the pharmacy. Then now you are going to buy these medicines from the pharmacy. Now doctor has been instructed to drink these medicines, okay, drink these medicines for about 5 days. But however, after like 3 days, my dear children, you feel very well. Okay, you feel very well, and your health conditions and body conditions once again come back to the normal level after 3 days. So what will you do? Will you consume that rest within the next 2 days? Of course, you are not going to do that. You are not going to do that for sure, and you are going to skip your medicine, right? So is that good? Why does the doctor is giving the medicine for about 5 days if the certain illness or if a certain disease condition is recovered within 3 or 2 days? Then what is the reason for giving these medicines for about 5 days? Is the doctor has been mistaken? No, actually that's not the issue. You know that most of the medicines that you are given with are antibiotics. So antibiotics have the ability to destroy bacterial infections in your body. You know that most of the diseases that we get are mainly created because of bacteria. So in that case, my dear children, right, now you know that antibacterial medicines, when antibacterial medicines are given for you guys, bacteria is getting killed because of the action of antibiotics. Now the thing is that you are getting completely cured, okay, within 3 days of time. But however, the bacteria which creates the disease haven't destroyed in your body totally. I mean 100% of the bacteria haven't destroyed yet. There are some certain amount of bacteria, but however, they won't have the ability to, give out certain symptoms. Now you feel sick when you get symptoms, when a certain kind of a tissue is getting damaged heavily, okay, within the body. If a certain kind of a tissue is getting damaged heavily, then my dear children, you will be getting the symptoms. But in this case, my dear children, symptoms will not be provided by the body if there are no such damages going to happen. Damage is being recovered quickly. However, if the damage is not going to continue for a longer time period, then like within 5 days, it will be recovered. Repairing or recovering from the damages not means that the bacteria has been killed within your body. There are certain kinds of bacteria which has been removed. That's why the doctor, right? That's why, and also there are some bacteria which retained within your system or within your body. So those guys will not have the ability to create like a heavy kind of a damage to that particular tissue. So that is why you are not giving out the symptoms. Okay. However, there are some certain types of bacteria. Okay, and some number of bacteria is there in your body. So if you stop it after consuming for about 3 days, then your body immunity system has the ability to destroy the rest. But however, there's one kind of a complication which is going to happen. This is called as antibacterial resistant. Okay, antibacterial resistant, or else antibiotic resistivity. So here what happens, my dear children, is now you know that if a certain type of an organism is going to face an extinct level threat, then when time is going to pass by, that particular organism is going to adapt for that particular kind of a threat. And within the body itself, they are developing a certain mechanism to fight against it. So the bacteria is also a type of an organism. So it is also having that ability. So if you stop these medicines without consuming in total, then what will happen? The remaining bacteria will develop a certain kind of a resistant to that antibiotics. When the time is going to pass by, they are going to create a certain kind of a resistant, okay, to that particular antibiotic. In that case, what will happen? In that case, my dear children, right, definitely the antibiotic, we have to increase the dosage of the antibiotic, or else we have to remove that antibiotic completely. And not even that, we have to go for much stronger antibiotics. And the other thing is, my dear children, we are giving out a certain kind of or we are creating a certain kind of a strong bacteria, and we are releasing those bacteria to the environment. So it's very important to consume each and every medicine which the doctor has been given for you guys for that given particular time period. Otherwise, my dear children, you will be creating new bacteria, new types of bacteria that can resist the antibiotics. So that is not a good, right? That is not a good condition here. It's not a good case, because when the time is going to pass by now, right? Let's take like 20, 50, 100 years. Then by that time, my dear children, the new types of bacteria will be there in the environment, because you are the ones who are going to create those things. Okay, and the medicine types, right, or the antibiotics that we have will not be able to kill those bacteria, because the bacteria now has a certain kind of a resistance to act against those. So therefore, we are giving, or we are now paying our future, right, in a huge risk if you do it right now. So it's very important to consume or to use these medicines for the prescribed time, right, at the correct intervals, right then. So my dear children, the other thing, it is very dangerous to use medicine without the advice of doctors for a long period of time. So if the doctor is saying just consume for about 5 days, then you have to stop it at 5 days. Don't exceed it, or don't consume or don't use for less number of days. Okay, don't do that. Exceeding the prescribed time is also not good for your health. Certain other kinds of side effects will create from in your body. Okay, and my dear children, you will create within your body, there will be different kinds of complications and health issues. Okay, so it's very important to consume these medicines for the given prescribed time, not over or not less. Okay, then in the past, margosa, turmeric liquid, and salt water were used as disinfectants, and at present artificial disinfectants are used to clean the floor, kitchen, toilets and bathrooms. Now, during the earlier times, my dear children, most of the disinfectants that we use, cleaning agents that we use, were plant-based substances, not chemical-based substances, mainly like margosa, turmeric, common salt and so on. I think you know that, you have heard that most of the Tamil people, right, when they are going to, now I think in the Indian movies or in Tamil movies, you have seen these things sometimes. Okay, so when these people get up in the morning, they prepare a basket of turmeric powder, right, this turmeric powder, dissolved water. Okay, So this mixture is being spread here and there within the outer environment. I think you have seen these things in movies, in some movies also. You have seen these things. That is their ritual actually. That has become a ritual for the people, for the Tamil people especially. Okay. Sometimes they also use margosa leaves within this solution. So why do they do this thing? Actually, most of the people, they think that this is some kind of a spiritual one, right? But however, there is a scientific effect as well. Now, when we go to sleep, okay, for about 7 to 8 hours, my dear children, we won't be clean in the garden or any other place. And the other thing is that during the nighttime period, because of the favorable environmental conditions, large amount of bacteria and other kinds of microorganisms are getting collected within the environment. Turmeric and margosa both have the ability to destroy microorganisms. So when we got up, or when those guys get up, right, they're going to spread turmeric powder or turmeric solution with margosa leaves here and there, just to destroy, right, just to destroy the microorganisms which has been collected within the environment for a certain time period, like around 8 to 10 hours. Okay, so there's a scientific reason as well. Sometimes there are several spiritual cases as well, but however, by doing that, so there is a scientific, right, explanation too. Okay, right. So turmeric and margosa leaves, they have certain kinds of disinfectant abilities. So therefore, earlier people or ancient people used these things mainly as the disinfectants. But my dear children, when you come to nowadays, all of these things were replaced with, right? All of these things were now completely replaced with what? Different kinds of chemical cleaning agents. Okay, chemical ones. So these chemical cleaning agents or disinfectants, okay, these things might kill needful bacteria and needful microorganisms which are present within a certain surface. So it is not a good condition, my dear children, especially when especially in toilet cleaners. Okay, when you add these chemical substances to clean your toilets, what will happen? These chemical substances will also destroy microorganisms which are favorable. Favorable means those microorganisms helps in decomposing fecal materials quickly. So these microorganisms will also get destroyed. So that would create different kinds of problems, my dear children. Okay, so it is very important to use as it is very important to use, right, biological components in the sense here, organic substances, different kinds of organic substances, environmental favorable substances as disinfectants, my dear children. Okay, so if you go around with the market, then you can find out these substances, right? Okay, then, so given in the next, disinfectants destroy microorganisms and it is not safe for them to come in contact with living tissues. So the other thing is that, you know, that these disinfectants, they have the ability to destroy microorganisms. That means they can kill living tissues and living cells. So therefore, these disinfectants, especially chemical disinfectants, should not come in contact with our living tissues. That means we should not touch these things. Okay, we should not touch these things, right? So if somehow these things came into contact, then my dear children, best thing to do is wash your hands thoroughly with water. Okay, then next one given, many side effects can be resulted due to their excessive use and they should be used moderately. By using disinfectants often and excessively in the toilet, the microorganisms that decompose feces are destroyed. So like I said, my dear children, okay, too much use of these chemical substances, especially within our toilets, then what will happen? Favorable microorganisms that can decompose fecal materials will get destroyed. Favorable microorganisms will also get destroyed. So there is a serve condition, right? Here the bioaccumulation will get increased. So therefore, it's very important to use these things moderately, okay? So you are given with a table, type of medicine, right? And types of disinfectants and types of antiseptics. So medicines, magnesium carbonate, aluminum hydroxide gel. More often we use these things as aluminum hydroxide. More often we use same as the magnesium hydroxide, which is also referred to as the milk of magnesia. So to get relief from the gastroacidity, we use aluminum hydroxide and as well as magnesium hydroxide, my dear children. So third one given, aqueous magnesium hydroxide, yes, the milk of magnesia. So both of these things more often used to prepare or to make antacids, okay, antacids. Then next one, disinfectants, phenol, chlorine and alcohol. Phenol we use in different kinds of tile cleaners, bathroom cleaners, right, and floor cleaners. For those things we use phenol. Then chlorine, so you know the use of chlorine, right? To kill microorganisms in water, we use chlorine. Then alcohol. Now the use of alcohol or these things in normal are referred as isopropyl alcohol, okay? So we use alcohol to destroy microorganisms. Like 2 years back when we had the plague corona, we used sanitizers. Can you remember? So sanitizer is mainly made up with alcohol, 80% of alcohol, right? 80% of alcohol and 20% of water. That's how sanitizers are being made up with, okay? Then my dear children, antiseptics. So antiseptics are added, or we use antiseptics in order to recover from bruises and cuts. So iodine, so I told you about iodine solution, right? Then surgical spirit and boric acid. So these things are used as antiseptics. So these are different kinds of chemical substances that we use as medicine, disinfectants and antiseptics. Right then, so we have discussed, right, another kind of a chemical substance, domestic chemical substance within the previous slide, my dear children. So that was about the medicines. Now we're going to focus about another different kind of a chemical substance which is added to the environment domestically. So this one is cosmetics. So when I was starting this area or this unit, I told you about this subtopic under the, now here we are discussing about domestic chemical substances. Now I took an example about the cosmetics, right? Most of the times we use these cosmetics, right? Artificially made cosmetic substances. So these substances may contain different kinds of chemicals. So these chemicals are much harmful to the environment and as well as for the consumer too. But however, during the ancient times, we use different kinds of plant-based substances and plant extracts like sandalwood, turmeric, margosa and so on. Those substances are plant-based, right? Those substances are environment friendly, my dear children, and also for the consumer also, these substances are not going to give out any side effect. However, if you take chemical substances like the usual artificial cosmetic substances that we use in our day-to-day life, different kinds of creams, face wash, then gel items and so on, okay? So these chemical substances When using these substances for long time period, definitely several kinds of side effects are going to happen. Okay, so here it is given for cleanliness, beauty, health and pleasantness. People have used natural plant extracts like sandalwood, turmeric and types of clay as cosmetics for thousands of years in the history. So like I said, during the ancient time period, people used cosmetics, but not artificial ones, natural ones, like different kinds of clay, sandalwood, turmeric, margosa, and so on. So these are plant extracts, my dear children, or else extracts taken out from natural environments, right? So therefore, environment friendliness is very high, and also for the user or for the consumer also, there are no any side effects as well. But however, at present, perfumes, bleaching creams, talc, hair colorants, and bleachers, deodorants, and lipsticks are used as cosmetics. There are naturally or artificially synthesized oils, colorings, fragrant substances, distilled substances, and preservatives contained in them. Most of them are complex carbonic substances. Then the other issue. Now at present, more often we use different kinds of cosmetics. So these cosmetics use different kinds of artificial substances, chemical substances, my dear children. So these chemical substances are much harmful as they are artificial. So sometimes they even contain organic substances which are harmful. Okay, so it's not wise to use these things in heavy extent. Usage of, using these things moderately is not going to harm you, but however, if you are using these things excessively within long time, for a long time period, then definitely it is going to harm you. Okay, here is given then, in perfumes and deodorants, there are alcohol, esters and distilled substances. When these are used excessively, some diseases are caused in some people. Sometimes headaches, vomiting and breathing difficulties can occur. So, different kinds of perfumes and deodorants, these things use different kinds of organic substances like alcohol and esters. So, for some people, my dear children, these things would create different kinds of allergies in their skin. And sometimes, my dear children, because of these allergies, vomiting, nausea can occur. Okay, so if you are using different kinds of creams and other kinds of cosmetic items, just check your just check the box. If you have the box, just check it. Within the box, my dear children, definitely there are instructions given to consume it, how to consume. Now, each and every cosmetic item should be tested before applying. So you are being asked to first of all apply that particular cosmetic on your earlobe or else any kind of other sensitive place. Okay, mostly in earlobe, very small content. Then you have to leave it for a certain time period. If there are no any rashes or any other conditions like allergy conditions, then it is safe to apply these things on your face or any other particular place. Okay, this is the proper method, my dear children, in applying chemical cosmetic substances. It can be a colorant or else a hair gel or anything. Okay, it can be a deodorant or else a cream, face wash, anything. This is the correct procedure of using those things. However, what we do is we're just going to apply it here and there according to our wish. But however, that's not the suitable way. It's very risky, my dear children, because you know that when making these things, different kinds of chemicals and different kinds of animal oils, plant extracts are being used, and other kinds of chemicals like different kinds of preservatives are being added. So therefore, right, therefore it's very important to test these things before the application. So that is how you are going to check. You can check these things. Okay, it's very important to follow out these instructions when using these cosmetics. Okay, so however, right, however, if you are using these things for a long time period, different side effects can occur. Right, then here it is given, in most of the lipsticks there is lead, right? So here lead, there is a small bit of a mistake. Here it should be lead, L-E-A-D. Okay, lead. So in textbook also, my dear children, there's a small bit of a mistake in here. So it should be lead, L-E-A-D. Okay. So in most of the lipsticks, there is lead, and the excessive usage can cause dryness and cracks on lips. So lead is a kind of a heavy metal. Okay, you know that it is a heavy metal. So if you apply these things heavily in your lips, then what will happen? Especially for the girls, right? So if you apply these things heavily in your lips, then what will happen? Most of these things contain lead. Then the lips will dry out, and my dear children, cracks will appear on the lips, right? Okay, then in some creams there is mercury. In some other creams there is the carbon compound that controls the formation of melanin colorant. This will destroy the natural protection that protects the skin from ultraviolet rays and poses the risk of skin cancers. Now see the toxicity, right? And also about the like the bad or the heavy side effect given out by these chemicals. Now it is given that different kinds of creams, they contain mercury. So what will happen? Mercury is a terrible heavy metal, my dear children, right? If you come in contact with mercury for about few minutes, definitely mercury means mercury element is going to go deep in your skin and through the skin to your bloodstreams. So within the bloodstreams they will flow, and finally your kidneys and other organs will get damaged. So these poisonous heavy metals are in different kinds of creams. Okay, are in different kinds of creams. So what will happen when you apply these creams, my dear children, right? Your face is getting whitened, right? How come? Because the natural complexion of the skin is destroyed. So the complexion is occurred, or natural complexion is given out to your face by the melanin pigments. And even, right, there are different kinds of organic substances that contained within these creams which can control the formation and the creation of melanin pigments. It will decelerate the action and decelerate the creation of melanin pigments. So if you apply these substances, then what will happen? You are posing your face into a mess. Okay, here mess means actually you are risking your lives into making a cancer, because most of the times, melanin can absorb, or melanin has the ability to absorb ultraviolet rays and protect from ultraviolet rays. That's the action of the melanin pigments, my dear children. Actually, melanin is a defense mechanism that helps to protect your skin from harmful ultraviolet rays which is coming from the sun. That is why when you go out in sun for a long time period, right, your skin color comes to a dark kind of a nature. This is mainly because of increasing melanin level in your skin. So melanin is the one which is protecting your skin from those harmful UV rays. That is why actually your skin is getting darkened, my dear children. Skin is getting darkened means your skin is being protected, or your body is being protected by the ultraviolet rays. So in order to protect, more and more melanin should be produced by the body. So because of that, your skin nature or skin complexion is getting turned into a darker nature. However, this is temporarily. That means when you like behave in the normal kind of a place, right, for about like 2 or 3 weeks, usually your color, the natural complexion will reappear. Okay. So these creams, different kinds of skin creams, they have the ability to interact with the melanin creation process and to decelerate that one. By that way, your skin is getting fair. But however, you're posing a risk in creation of skin cancers, because ultraviolet rays will enter to your body and it will deform your body tissues and DNA structures, creating different kinds of mutated cells. So therefore, there is a risk of getting skin cancers because of that. Okay. Then the next point, it gets into the skin and harms the connecting tissues. The use of cream for a long period of time can cause defects in the skin. Sometimes this can harm the brain, liver and kidneys. So like I said, my dear children, as there are different kinds of heavy metal particles like mercury and lead, when you use these things for a certain time period, they will come in contact with our blood streams. Then through blood streams, they will travel to livers and kidneys, then organ failures, right? Organ failures can also happen. Then next one, some hair colorings and compounds with bleachers cause allergies in some people. This causes itching in the scalp, skin rashes, swelling, cancers and even death. So I told you about these things, right? So most of the times these things or these cosmetics, they create different kinds of, okay, different kinds of allergies on certain types of people. So because of these allergies, right, different kinds of diseases may arise, like itching, swelling, pains and so on. Okay, and even death can also occur. So therefore, there are vast kind of side effects which is going to happen because of artificial cosmetic substances. Okay, right then. So this is about the cosmetics then, right? Then my dear children, the next kind of organic chemicals, the next kind of domestic chemical substance, right, which is removed or which is added to the environment, this is the paint. So paints, a material that is applied on surfaces to protect the surface having a desired color are called paints. Paints contain three components. So a material that is applied on surfaces to protect the surface having a desired color are called paints. So usually you know that we apply different kinds of paints in our houses. Even to color our houses, we apply different kinds of paints. And sometimes when we are making a certain construction like a fence or else a gate, right, then a window, a door, we apply different kinds of paints. So there are two main uses in application of a paint. One thing is protect the certain surface from microbial activities and from other external hazardous conditions. Okay, protect the surface. Then second one is in order to give out an attractive look. Okay, so for steel made substances or iron made substances, we apply paints, and also for different kinds of wood based materials also we use these paints. So in each and every kind of a paint, my dear children, there are three components. There are three main components. Number one given, pigment. Okay, pigment. So pigment means that's the coloring agent, right? The coloring agent is the pigment. So it is given. They are produced mainly by metal oxides or metal salts. Bronze, gold, zinc and aluminium metals are prepared into a fine powder and used as pigments. So they are produced mainly by metal oxides or metal salts. Mainly produced by metal oxides or by metal salts. Then bronze, gold, zinc, aluminium metals are prepared into a fine powder and used as pigments. So here, my dear children, the specialty is that here metal oxides or metal salts, you know that metals have unique shine, which is called as the metallic luster. So because of having metallic luster, my dear children, these metals are taken into a fine powder and applied as a pigment. Okay, so in order to get chrome color nature, that's unique silver color, we use chromium pigments. Okay, chromium. Sometimes we apply even titanium pigments by using the titanium salts and so titanium oxide. So these things are used within our floor decorations. Okay. Then, my dear children, the second one, binder or non-volatile substance. So to bind these things together, now there should be a binder now. So to bind these things together, right? In order to bond these things together, there is a binder. The second one. Then, my dear children, number 3, vehicle or solvent. Volatile hydrocarbonic substance such as turpentine is used as vehicle. Water is used as the vehicle for water soluble binders. So my dear children, here they are given that volatile hydrocarbonic substance such as turpentine is used as the vehicle. Water is used as the vehicle for water soluble binders. So for the water soluble substances, we use water. Now usually the paints that we used in our houses, right? These paints are house walls. Most of the times these paints are water soluble substances. You can dissolve in water and you can apply within the walls. Then sometimes, my dear children, hydrocarbonic substances are also being used like turpentine. Okay, in common sense these things are called as thinner. So we can apply thinner or turpentine, right? So we can use the paint, the given paint. Especially these things are being applied on metallic surfaces like gates and fences. Okay, right. So there are three kinds of or three components that can be identified mainly within any kind of a paint. So those three are given here. Number 1, the pigment or the coloring agent. Number 2, binder or the non-volatile substance, that is the part which is going to bind these pigments together. Then number 3, the vehicle or the solvent, right? Now we have to use a certain solvent to dissolve these things and to apply on a certain surface. So these three are common for each and every paint item. Right then. Then given, my dear children, combustion of fossil fuel and waste matter. Combustion of fossil fuel and waste matter. So you know that different kinds of effluents are getting added to the environment because of the combustion of fossil fuel. Okay. Right. Now let's see about that topic then. Combustion of fossil fuel enormously in factories, automobiles, petroleum power stations results in emitting a large amount of carbon monoxide, CO, carbon dioxide, CO2, and sulfur dioxide. So you know that there are different kinds of areas, right, which has different kinds of factories. These things are specially referred to as industrial zones. So within these industrial zones, my dear children, to operate their machines, different kinds of fuels are being used. Especially these fuels are petroleum based fuel, fossil fuels. So therefore, my dear children, definitely for sure, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, like that way different kinds of gases are getting emitted to the environment. And also during the operation of automobiles, that means vehicles, right? Heavy amount of these gases are being emitted to the environment, right? Then burning of plastics and polythene too emits dioxin, C4H4O2 and other gases. So dioxin is a toxic gas. So dioxin gas will emit because of the burning of different kinds of polythene and other plastic items. So therefore, my dear children, burning of these substances is not environment friendly, right? Okay. Then you are given with another topic, persistent organic pollutants, POPs. Let's see. Some toxic, hazardous organic substances have been identified as persistent organic pollutants, POPs. So POPs means, my dear children, these things are persisting. Persisting means these things are these things are going to stay within the environment for a long time period. Persisting. Organic, that means they contain carbon as the main constituent. That means simply we can say that these things are plant and animal based substances. Then pollutants. You know what do you mean by the pollutants, right? So these things are harmful substances to the environment. So persistent organic pollutants, POPs. So these substances are organic substances that is going to last within the environment for a longer time period, and also these things are pollutants. Okay, right. They are released to the environment from different sources. These pollutants have certain specific features as follows. So these pollutants have different specific features as follows. Let's see. Persist in the environment for a long period of time. So persist in the environment for a long time period. That means they are long lasting within the environment, not going to destroy within short time period. Okay. Next one. Accumulate in the body of organisms along food chains are the other specialty. When a certain organism is going to have certain number of persistent organic pollutants, that means POPs. Okay. Then, my dear children, if a certain other organism is going to consume that particular organism, then what will happen? The POPs which contain within that smaller organism will definitely go through to the large organism. So along food chains, they can pass from one particular organism to another. Okay. Then next one, spread widely in the environment. So because of these features, my dear children, because of these persistent, then transporting from one to another, these particles widely being spreaded within the environment. Then highly toxic, the main important one. These things are highly toxic. Okay, so the toxicity is very high. Okay. Then, my dear children, here it is given the final point. See, 12 organic pollutants have been identified as dirty dozen, which can pose effective threat to the earth. Now there are 30, right? So there are 12. Okay, so there are 12 organic pollutants which have been identified, and these things are referred to as dirty dozen, as there are 12. So there are 12 organic pollutants which identified within our environment, and these things are going to pose different kinds of threats to the environment. Okay, right. So these are POPs, my dear children, which is also referred to as the persistent organic pollutants. Okay, then for extra knowledge, you are given with the dirty dozen. So chemicals associated with factories, industrial and combustive byproducts, different kinds of pesticides. Okay, so within, my dear children, you can, within these table, you can observe the dirty dozen. Let's see. Number 1, hexachlorobenzene. hexachlorobenzene, chemical which is associated with factories. Okay, then polychlorinated biphenyl, PCB boards, right? We use these PCB boards in circuit boards, polychlorinated biphenyls. Okay, so in circuit boards we use these PCB boards, my dear children. So those things are those things are considered as persistent organic pollutants. Then next one, industrial and combustive byproducts. We discussed that thing about, right? So can you remember, because of the combustion of different polythene substances and other plastic substances, a gas called dioxin is going to emit. So dioxin is a, right, this is a organic substance, and also it belongs to the dirty dozen. So it is a pollutant. Next one, furan. So this is also a chemical substance which is getting emitted because of the combustion of different polymers and other substances, my dear children. So this is also belongs to the dirty dozen. Next one, pesticide. As you can see, most of the things are getting emitted, right, or most of the chemical substances or these organic substances, organic chemicals are added to the environment because of the pesticides. So let's see, aldrin, chlorodrine, DDT, deldrine, endrine, heptachlor, myrex, toxaphene. These substances are contained within pesticides. So within this table, my dear children, you can observe all 12, right, all that 12 POPs which has been identified up to now. All of these substances are carbon based, my dear children. Carbon based means here the main constituent element in these substances are carbon, right? The other case is that the carbon contained within these substances, or these substances, these particular types of substances are much harmful for the environment. That is the second case. Okay, so they have the ability to even flow from one particular organism, from body of one particular organism to another through the food chain, and also these substances are long lasting in the environment. Okay, right then. So after the dirt dozen, you are given with another topic. So here within this one, we'll be mainly focusing about the ill effects caused because of the POPs. So you are given with a point here. Other than those, some other compounds belong to the persisting organic pollutants, right? These POPs, so other than those things, there are other kinds of ones, which belong to the persistent organic pollutants. So here is given once more. These POPs cause certain ill effects as follows. So the ill effects, harmful things created because of the POPs or else persistent organic pollutants. So here it is given. Number one, inborn defects. That means, my dear children, when a certain child, right, for a certain fetus, it can create different kinds of defects. So inborn defects. Okay, so certain defects are getting created for the certain fetuses. So inborn defects might occur. Then next one, cancers. Right, as you can see, cancers can be observed everywhere, each and every place where we're going to discuss about the pollutants, right? In each and every artificial substances, right, cancers are common. So as you can see, that is why even in our society, the pose of getting cancer has got increased. Because, my dear children, most of the times the substances that we use in our day-to-day life are cancer causative, right? So cancers will also create because of the POPs. Then, my dear children, given mental defects. So mental defects also, right, different kinds of mental defects also will create because of the POPs, my dear children, or else persistent organic pollutants. So these things will harm mainly for the different kinds of people, right? Mainly for the children and also fetuses, right? For adults also there is a higher risk in getting, but however, the risk of getting diseases for children and for the fetus conditions are very high. Okay, right then. So here now we have discussed all the things related to the domestic chemical waste. And my dear children, these are the ways which the environment could get polluted. So here we discuss several pollutants, different kinds of pollutants and different kinds of cases, ill effects created because of the environment pollution, right? So over there in different chapters we discuss about different kinds of pollutants and also different kinds of ill effects. However, my dear children, there is a vast variety, there is a vast area of ill effects because of the environment pollution. Okay, so now we have completed a certain chapter related to this lesson, my dear children, right? So we discussed all the possible ways which the environment pollution can happen. Okay, we discussed about different kinds of pollutants. This is the final one then, persistent organic pollutants. So there also we discussed about persistent organic pollutants, we discussed about the dirty dozen, and even we discussed about some side effects created because of coming in contact with these persistent organic pollutants. Okay, so with that one, my dear children, I'm going to finish up this chapter. In the next chapter we'll be discussing about, right, we'll be mainly focusing about ill effects of environment pollution, right? So even here also we have discussed several kinds of ill effects, but however we'll be discussing about ill effects in brief within our next chapter. Okay, so I'll be coming to discuss about these ill effects of environment pollution within our next chapter.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.